Hello, hello there. I'm Nana Konamah, and as always, I'm here to help you find your authentic self. It's Fibroid Awareness Month, which means that from July 1st to July 31st, I'm using all my platforms to dedicate to talk about conversations concerning fibroids. We were joined by Dr. Jacqueline Anita Sowa again to talk today about mental and emotional health while dealing with our fibroids. In the previous video, we talked about treatment options and symptoms. So today, I'm so happy to talk about something so dear to my heart, which is mental and emotional health, which often goes neglected in the medical conversation. Hi, Dr. Sowa.
Hi.
We're back again.
Yes, we are.
Wink, wink. So, in our first video, we talked about symptoms. In our second video, we talked about treatment options if you're able to identify that you indeed have fibroids. So somebody says, I have fibroids. These are my treatment options. But man, I'm mentally and emotionally, I feel like a gut punch. What do we have to say for our sisters out there who may be dealing with fibroids and are really dealing with the emotional and mental toll of the entire ordeal?
Okay, so what I want to tell our sisters is having fibroids is not a death sentence. I mean, it can be managed, it can be treated. So I know there are lots of misconceptions and stigmatization that comes with it. So yes, so indirectly it affects the mental well-being of people who may be having fibroids. Because as I said, you may even have it and you may not have any symptoms. And then you may have and have symptoms. We can manage those symptoms for you. There's no need to, be depressed or be anxious. Anxiety, yes, I understand, because you really don't know what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
You feel like there's something strange happening to you, and especially those who bleed and have those severe pain. Yes. Mm-hmm. But yes, it can be treated. It can be managed. So I don't think you should let fibroids worry you so much so that it gets you so depressed.
And I think in order to reduce anxiety, we have to talk about it.
Oh yes, education is key. Yeah. It's very, very key.
Yeah, and talk about it with each other.
Exactly.
I really want, and something I also notice, especially here, is that we feel like we need to whisper when it comes to our periods.
No.
I saw your eye roll. You're like, I'm so over it.
I know. I remember growing up as a kid. When you are in school and you're having your period, it's like you're so shy.
Yeah.
And people will tease you as though like something is wrong with you,
Yeah.
You're abnormal. But it's a normal phenomenon. Like, it should even be your pride as a woman when you have your periods. Like, don't let it stop you, because if you don't have your period, you come crying to the doctor again that I'm not seeing my periods and I want to have a child. And so once you're having your period, it means that definitely then you may even be fertile.
So it's a sign of fertility.
Exactly.
It is for me, I see it as it's a sign of fertility.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it means your womb is there and it's working.
Because there are people who are born without a womb and they've never seen a period before. But if you're seeing your period, yes, it should be your pride. Gone were those days. I used to be very shy about my periods, but I don't mind standing here to tell you, hey, I'm in my period. Like, I'm a woman. It's part of us. So yes, you shouldn't be shy talking about your periods. If there's something abnormal about it, talk to someone. But make sure you talk to the right people. Mm-hmm. Yes, because some people will mislead you to doing all sorts of things, which may rather be detrimental to your health in general.
Yeah.
So yes, talk to the right people. If you see any change in your body, any pain associated, you are not having pains before, and you're having pains, talk to your doctor.
Yes, and I think it's very important to start having the conversation about womb health for as early as possible, because I think we only talk about our sexual reproductive organs in context of like childbirth and sexuality. Yeah. But we need to be open and comfortable to just have that conversation about, a lot of young women experience, something as simple as chronic yeast or BV infections. Yeah. And because our vaginas are like seen as something to be ashamed of. It's secret. It has to be put away. Like, we don't even openly come and talk about sort of like, I'm having an imbalance. Yeah. Where do I take that? Who do I talk to? I'm so embarrassed. There's no reason to be embarrassed about our bodies. And more again, we see so much embarrassment around our bodies. You know, and I'm sure there are women who come to you with very late stage of fibroids or PCOS or something else. They don't come to you till it's so bad that they have no choice but to be depressed about it because it's so bad.
Yeah. And you see also, like you rightly said, a lot of them would have noticed these changes way earlier, some years back. But like you said, because of stigmatization or the fact that we're not able to talk about sexuality, we're not able to talk about womb, anything that has to do with the female reproductive system, people see it like it has to be just for yourself, it has to be secret and hidden. So they'll keep all these things. And then by the time they come, the womb will be so big that we can't conserve your uterus. Because if we try conserving, your life may be at risk in terms of bleeding during surgery and all that. So yes, I mean, that is why now, I'm sure that is what has created all this stigmatization and misconceptions with respect to fibroids. But fibroid is not a death sentence. It's treatable.
It doesn't have to be.
Yes, and it's not cancerous. I mean, there's a risk of development to cancer, but it is not. It is a benign. By benign means it's non-cancerous.
I think the more we talk about it, the better, because it seems to usually be a death sentence when it's been sitting around for so long that it's so huge that the risk to the patient is so high.
Conserve your uterus. The risk to conserve your uterus is so high that we'll have no choice but to
do a hysterectomy.
Exactly. And so usually, depending on the size they come in with, when we are counseling them for surgery, we always counsel them with the possibility of having a hysterectomy for them, because when we go in, depending on what we also find inside, we may need to take out your womb for your own sake.
Your own safety. Exactly. So in the case of an individual who says, how often should we be going to, how often should we be checking out? How often should we be coming to you? I guess I was like, how often should I be getting, coming to my OBGYN for physicals?
Okay, so for physicals, you can be coming every year.
Every year.
Exactly. And each year when you come, we'll do a total general examination for you, do the necessary investigations that we need to do. And then if we pick it up and it's not a bothersome problem or it's not giving you any problems, we'll keep checking you. We'll still examining you probably annually, because it's important to have annual medicals or physical examination done on you. If it starts giving you problems or we notice the size keeps increasing, then we may want to intervene. But just a routine annual medical should be enough.
I agree with that. Another thing, this is not so much a problem here in Ghana, but for Black women who live in majority white countries, for instance, in Ghana, we are asked about family history when it comes to fibroids because it's so common. Yeah. But for a lot of Black women who live in majority, white countries, they will say that the medical system is not for me. Yeah. They don't ask me questions about fibroid history. I kind of take the same sort of medical history examination as my white counterparts, but I'm dealing with something different. How can you advise someone how to advocate for themselves in that space?
Okay, so it's a system thing. It's something that they've been told probably not to look out for because they feel like we said earlier on, being Black is an increased risk, and more Blacks having more compared to the whites. So yes, but I'm sure even if you feel like you may have fibroids and whatever problems you go with, I'm sure they will examine and then investigate. And then,
not always.
Not always.
So Black women, overwhelmingly, there's a refusal from a lot of doctors who don't look like us. Mm-hmm. But they are, you can say, I think I have fibroids. Typically speaking, a lot of doctors say, what makes you feel that way? Well, I think I have this. Oh, don't worry about it. Black women are actually documented for being the least listened to in the medical system.
it's unfortunate that we can't really do anything about it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure that equally black doctors out there.
Yeah, I do encourage, try to find a black OBGYN as much as possible, because the assumption is that they're seeing more.
And from their background too, they know this is something that is prevalent in our communities.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they will even have more experience with performing surgery for these fibroids.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's why I feel like we need to do the work from here because in majority black spaces, we take for granted that like my doctor is used to seeing fibroids. That's why when I had my fibroid issue, I remember that I was adamant that if I was getting screened for it, it had to be either in Ghana or if I was in the States, it had to be with a doctor, like an African or black doctor, because I just did not want to be dismissed. Right. Yeah. Or it just had to be a doctor of color.
It's sad.
It's really, really unfortunate. Yeah. But I know a lot of black women in America right now who say, I don't even know where to take this. And if I do take it somewhere, or even, they are just not going to follow through. On top of that, medical care is so expensive in America.
Yeah, it is. But I'm also sure, some of these medical management I mentioned earlier on, I'm sure they'll probably put the woman on such treatment options because, they are not used to seeing these huge fibroids compared to smaller fibroids because we blacks have it more.
Yeah.
And ours tend to even be bigger compared to, I remember when I was at La General, maybe 3 years back, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years back, we had this medical team coming to Ghana to, do series of surgeries, general surgery, OBGYN, and all that. And talking to some of the doctors, I realized that the sizes that our patients had,
they hadn't seen them.
They hadn't seen them, exactly. Because they said our fibroids here are really huge. And yes, they are huge because people don't talk about their problems. They don't talk about what is wrong with them. They keep it. You may notice something and then you keep it for so long, it will grow. Like I said, fibroids keep growing and growing. And that's what I think may be the challenge on that.
It's just it's left to its own devices.
Exactly.
It can cause major problems.
Exactly.
So the way we stop it in its tracks is just talking.
And seeing a doctor. Notice your body. Listen to your body. Any changes that you feel within, just see your doctor.
Yeah. Thank you so much because I think, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. There's some people who say like, I don't like the doctor. To be fair, a lot of people have horror stories.
A lot of people have their own stories.
Yeah, they have a lot of horror stories.
I get it.
I think that there needs to be, sometimes doctors come off a bit insensitive because they're so knowledgeable and they kind of, it's like you have all the knowledge. I don't have any of the knowledge.
So I expect you to, come down to my level.
Right, and comfort me.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a little bit of arrogance sometimes. People feel that there's a lot of arrogance within the medical community, or they feel like they're better off not going to the hospital.
Because you can even see
I'll die.
Herbalist or a traditionalist.
I'd rather go see a herbalist. I'd rather go see a herbalist because already we know that, okay, let me just go see this herbalist who knows me. They speak my language. They're not shouting big English.
Down to my level, and it'll probably comfort me as well.
And it comfort me. And it's not all this big English that I have never heard of before.
Oh, but there are lots of good doctors.
Not you, of course.
Oh, no. I'm just talking in general.
Yeah.
Because sometimes too, it's not an excuse, the patient to doctor ratio. So it can become overwhelming. Wow. Like when you are at the clinic seeing over 40 or 50 patients before the day ends. So sometimes it's not an excuse for them to do that. Yeah. But I understand. We'll do our best. We'll try and do better.
And it's just management. I think it will take civil society and conversations like this to say, let's bridge the gap so that everybody who goes to the hospital will feel complete. We'll feel complete that I think the hospitals need to be more wellness centered versus medical centered
or business centered.
Yes. Exactly. Because we need to feel like there needs to be a holistic sense of, and maybe it's not for the doctor to assure people mentally and emotionally. Maybe it's for the case manager. Right. So maybe it comes down to case management.
Which I doubt we have in Ghana here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll try our best.
Oh no, we're going to work together to change these things. So thank you so much for such an honest conversation. Thank you also for sharing your own personal story. Thank you also for doing the work of keeping us fibroid free and the most important thing, reminding us that there is hope. There is hope. It's not the end of the world. Thank God for you.
Thank you.
So thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with Dr. Jacqueline Anita Soa. As usual, head over to nanakonamah.com to read up more on our fibroid activism, including our short, medium, and long-term goals to help you understand what my plan is with my Fibroid Foundation. In this conversation, we covered a few areas concerning mental and emotional. The most important thing we want you guys to walk away from is understanding that fibroids do not have to be hopeless. First and foremost, let's start listening to our bodies. If you feel the pain, are bleeding too much, are feeling off, see a doctor, begin to listen to your body. There are lifestyle changes that we can make, but most importantly, early detection is the best policy for all of us. Keep it in mind that fibroids don't have to be hopeless. They're only hopeless when they're left to their own devices. So listen to your body, eat and be healthy, and don't neglect your annual checkups. I'll be posting Dr. Jacqueline Anita Soa's contacts if you are in Ghana and are looking for a great OBGYN. And also reach out to me so we can help you find resources for wherever you might be watching this video. Once again, I'm Nana Konamah. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and go ahead and like this video and leave a question or comment below for us to get the conversation going. Thank you once again. Fibroid Month.